I was trying to play music during our dinner party when I accidentally opened my wife Rachel's Spotify instead of mine. We were hosting her coworkers for the first time, and I wanted to impress them with a sophisticated jazz playlist while Rachel finished preparing appetizers in the kitchen. But when Spotify opened, I saw something that made my blood freeze. Rachel's recently played playlists included one I'd never seen before, Songs for D. D, not M for Michael, my name, D for someone else. I stared at the playlist title, my heart pounding as our guests chatted in the living room, completely unaware that I was discovering evidence of my wife's secret life on our smart TV screen. The playlist had been created 3 months ago and contained 47 songs. I clicked on it, and the first song that started playing was All of Me by John Legend. A romantic love song that Rachel and I had never shared, playing from a playlist dedicated to someone whose name started with D. I quickly switched to my own account and played jazz music for our guests, but my mind was racing. Who was D? Why did my wife have a romantic playlist for someone else? And how long had this been going on? After our guests left around 11 p.m., I waited until Rachel was in the shower before investigating further. I opened her Spotify on my phone, we shared accounts for family plan savings, and dove deeper into this mysterious playlist. Songs for D wasn't just any playlist. It was carefully curated with songs that told a story. Love songs, songs about secret relationships, songs about leaving someone for someone else. Each song had been added at different times over the past 3 months, showing that this wasn't a one-time creation but an ongoing project. The song titles read like a timeline of an affair. Can't Help Myself, added 3 months ago. Secret Love Song, added 2.5 months ago. Thinking Out Loud, added 2 months ago. Say You Won't Let Go, added 6 weeks ago. Perfect by Ed Sheeran, added 1 month ago. Marry Me by Train, added 2 weeks ago. Marry Me. Rachel had added a song about marriage proposals to a playlist for someone named D just 2 weeks ago. But there was more. Rachel had also created collaborative playlists that showed 2 contributors, her and someone else. I clicked on one called Our Song Collection and saw that the other contributor was listed as David M. 85. David M. born in 1985, making him about 39 years old, the same age as Rachel. If you're finding this as disturbing as I did when I discovered it, please subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. Because what I found next in Rachel's Spotify activity completely shattered everything I thought I knew about my wife and our 6-year marriage. Trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end for this one. I spent the next hour going through every playlist, every recently played song, every piece of evidence hidden in Rachel's Spotify account. What I found painted a picture of a relationship that had been growing more serious over the past 3 months. David had been adding songs to their collaborative playlists too. Songs like Come Away With Me, At Last, and The Way You Look Tonight. Classic romantic songs that suggested someone older, more traditional in his musical tastes than Rachel's usual preference for contemporary pop. But the most devastating discovery was a playlist called David's Favorites that Rachel had created. The description read, Songs that remind me of you and make me think about our future together. Our future together. Rachel was planning a future with David while living with me. I checked when these playlists were most actively updated. The pattern was disturbing. Tuesday and Thursday evenings, always between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. The same days Rachel had started attending a book club 3 months ago. Rachel's book club that met twice a week and always seemed to put her in an amazing mood when she came home. I dug deeper into the Spotify data, looking at listening activity and patterns. What I found was a digital diary of Rachel's affair. On Tuesday and Thursday nights, her supposed book club nights, Rachel's account showed extended listening sessions of romantic music, often the same songs played repeatedly. Songs from Songs for D and their collaborative playlists. But here's what really caught my attention. Rachel's location data, if she had it enabled, showed that these romantic music sessions weren't happening at any community center or library where a book club might meet. They were happening at an address I didn't recognize. I cross-referenced the address with Google Maps. It was an upscale apartment complex called Riverside Gardens, about 20 minutes from our house. Rachel had been listening to romantic music with David at his apartment while telling me she was discussing literature with her book club. When Rachel came out of the shower, I was sitting on our bed with her Spotify open on my laptop, the Songs for D playlist displayed on the screen. Michael, what are you doing with my Spotify? I was looking for music for the dinner party and found something interesting. Rachel's face went pale when she saw what was on the screen. That's private. Private from your husband? Rachel, who is D? She sat down heavily on the bed, staring at the playlist like it was evidence of a crime, which, in many ways, it was. I can explain. Please do. Explain why you have a romantic playlist for someone named D. Explain who David M85 is and why you're creating collaborative playlists with him. David is someone I met at the actual book club I attended for 2 weeks before I started seeing him instead. Instead of going to book club? Instead of a lot of things. How long have you been seeing David? 3 months. The same 3 months you've been creating romantic playlists for him. Music is important to both of us. We bond over songs. You bond over songs with David while lying to me about book clubs. Michael, what David and I have is different from what you and I have. Different how? We connect on an emotional level through music. We understand each other's feelings through the songs we share. I looked at the playlist again. These aren't just songs you share. These are love songs, marriage proposal songs, songs about secret relationships and leaving your current partner. David appreciates that side of me. What side? The romantic side. The side that needs poetry and music and emotional connection. I appreciate those things about you. When's the last time you made me a playlist, Michael? When's the last time you sent me a song that reminded you of me? She had a point, but it didn't justify 3 months of lying. Rachel, even if I'm not good at expressing myself through music, that doesn't mean you should start a relationship with someone else. I didn't start a relationship with David. I started exploring a connection that felt natural and honest. A connection that required lying to me twice a week for 3 months. A connection that made me remember what it feels like to be understood by someone. I scrolled through more of Rachel's playlists, finding additional evidence of her relationship with David. Here's a playlist called After David Texted Me. 37 songs about being in love. When was this created? Last week. What did David text you that inspired 37 love songs? Rachel was quiet for a moment. He told me he loved me. And you created a playlist to celebrate that? I created a playlist to process my feelings about it. What were your feelings? That I loved him too. Are you in love with David? Yes. Do you want to be with him instead of me? I want to be with someone who understands my emotional language. Is David married? He's divorced. How old is he? 39. What does he do? He's a music teacher at the community college. A music teacher. That explained the sophisticated song choices and the importance of musical connection in their relationship. Rachel, you're having an affair with a music teacher who makes you playlists. I'm having a relationship with someone who sees music the way I do, while married to me, while trying to figure out what I really want from life. I kept exploring Rachel's Spotify activity, uncovering more details about her relationship with David. Here's a playlist called Songs David Played for Me on Guitar. He's been playing music for you? He's been sharing his musical talents with me. At his apartment? At his apartment, at coffee shops, sometimes in his car. The Tuesday and Thursday book clubs? Are Tuesday and Thursday music sessions with David? For 3 months. Yes. Rachel, what's the longest you've spent with David in a single day? Last Saturday we spent the entire afternoon and evening together. Saturday you said you were shopping with your sister. I was with David. We went to a record store, had lunch, walked around the park. He played guitar for me at his apartment. You spent the day having romantic music dates with David while telling me you were with family. I spent the day feeling like myself for the first time in years. I found another playlist that made my chest tighten. Songs for When I Leave Michael. Rachel, what is this playlist? It's songs that help me think about what my life could look like if I was honest about what I wanted. You're planning to leave me. I'm planning to stop living a lie. What lie? The lie that I'm happy in our marriage. The lie that I don't need someone who understands my emotional and artistic side. The lie that I can be content with someone who doesn't share my passion for music and poetry. I could learn to share those things with you. Michael, you don't even listen to music when you're alone. You watch sports and business podcasts. We're fundamentally different people. Different people can make marriages work. Not when one person needs emotional and artistic connection and the other person thinks that's frivolous. Rachel was right about our differences, but I'd never realized they were deal breakers for her. The playlist Marry Me song. Are you and David talking about marriage? We're talking about what a future together could look like. While you're married to me. While I figure out how to end our marriage honestly. When were you planning to tell me? Soon. David's been encouraging me to be honest with you instead of continuing to sneak around. David wants you to divorce me. David wants us to be able to be together openly. The conversation continued for hours. Rachel admitted that she'd fallen completely in love with David, that they'd been discussing living together, that she'd been planning to ask me for a divorce after figuring out the logistics. The Spotify playlists, I said at one point. If I hadn't found them, how long would you have continued lying to me? Until I found the courage to be honest about wanting a different kind of life. A life with a music teacher who makes you playlists. A life with someone who speaks my emotional language. Rachel, we've been married for 6 years. Why didn't you tell me you needed more musical and artistic connection in our relationship? I tried. Remember when I suggested we take dance lessons? You said you were too busy. When I wanted to go to concerts, you said they were too expensive. When I played songs I loved for you, you'd nod politely and change the subject. I didn't realize how important those things were to you. They weren't just important to me. They were essential to who I am as a person. David saw that immediately. The divorce papers were filed 6 weeks later. Rachel moved in with David immediately after leaving our house. I learned later that he'd been helping her pack while I was at work, probably creating playlists for the occasion. 6 months after the divorce, I heard through mutual friends that Rachel and David had gotten engaged. They'd apparently composed a song together for their engagement party, something they'd been working on during those Tuesday and Thursday book club sessions. A year later, they had a wedding where the entire ceremony was based around music they'd created together. Rachel looked happier in their wedding photos than I'd ever seen her during our marriage. I eventually realized that Rachel and I had been incompatible in ways I'd never understood. She needed artistic and emotional connection through music, poetry, and creative expression. I needed practical stability and straightforward communication. 2 years after the divorce, I met someone new. Jennifer was different from Rachel, more direct about her needs, less focused on artistic expression, more interested in the kinds of activities I enjoyed. When we shared music, it was classic rock and pop songs we could both enjoy without deeper emotional significance. "I like that you're straightforward," Jennifer told me. "I don't need someone to understand my soul through song lyrics. I need someone who listens when I tell them what I want." Jennifer was right. The Spotify playlists that had exposed Rachel's affair had taught me that people express love differently, and that musical compatibility might be more important to some people than I'd ever realized. Technology meant to help us share music had instead revealed how differently Rachel and I experienced emotional connection. Her affair hadn't been just about David. It had been about finding someone who spoke her language in ways I'd never learned to do. Rachel's Spotify account had been documenting her affair through carefully curated playlists, collaborative music sharing, and listening patterns that showed when and where she was bonding with David. Every song choice had been a small betrayal, every playlist a love letter to someone else. The playlist titled Songs for D had been Rachel's way of building a relationship through music while I remained oblivious to the language she was speaking with another man. I learned that modern technology can expose affairs in unexpected ways, not just through text messages or photos, but through the songs people choose to share, the playlists they create, and the musical memories they build with people who aren't their spouses. Rachel's affair had been conducted through Spotify playlists, collaborative music sharing, and romantic songs that told the story of their relationship better than any love letters could have. Every playlist had been evidence of emotional infidelity that eventually became physical infidelity. Sometimes the most personal betrayals are hidden in the most personal choices. The music we love, the songs that move us, the playlists we create when we're feeling emotions we can't express in words. My wife's Spotify playlist revealed she was in love with someone else, but it also revealed that she'd been emotionally disconnected from me for much longer than I'd realized. The music she shared with David was the music she'd always wanted to share with me, if I'd been capable of understanding that language. Technology designed to bring people together through shared musical experiences had instead documented how far apart Rachel and I had grown, one carefully chosen song at a time.